Would you like to learn how to make this beautiful cornbread to be used as a side dish or as your vegetable for dinner? Stay tuned to the next episode of Hilltop Stovetop. Hello and welcome back to Hilltop Stovetop, the show where we're teaching you how to make great meals in an ordinary kitchen. Today we're going to be making cornbread, or as some people would call it, Johnny cake. And I'm just going to turn off my onions here so we can hear me talking a little bit. Johnny cake is a term that is used in Eastern North America, all the way from Eastern Canada down through the United States and into the Caribbean. There's variations on it. Most of the Johnny cake recipes actually are cornmeal flatbread sort of thing. The Johnny cake recipe that I grew up with is more of a quick bread. It's a thicker bread. And the reason it's called Johnny cake, it's actually a derivative of the term journey cake, because it's something that can be made and it does keep fairly well. However, I'm making a variation on it today, because as much as I love the recipe that I have used since I was a little girl, and again, this is the most worn out cookbook and the dirtiest page, so you know it's a good recipe. And this Johnny cake, and I will put a list of those ingredients in our description. It goes very well. You have it warm with butter and maple syrup. It's just awesome. But I'm going to do a slightly different version. Similar ingredients, but this is going to be moister and has actual real corn in it. So we've got a basic quick bread kind of recipe, much the same as our muffins. What I've been cooking in this pan here, and this is the pan that I'm actually going to bake it in. It's a 2-quart pan, the equivalent of a 9x9 square pan. I've got a medium-sized onion that I was just caramelizing there a little bit in 1/4 cup plus a little bit of butter. Now you're saying to yourself, 1/4 cup of butter is way more than you need for a typical onion. But what we're going to do is that butter then becomes the oil that's in our cake mixture. And normally the recipe calls for 1/4 cup of oil, or melted butter. I've used the melted butter from the onions, which is going to give it some extra flavor. The other thing that you can do with this, and I think a lot of people would really like it, is if you put some chopped up jalapeno peppers or green peppers or something. Those of you that watch my videos know that I usually substitute out things like that just because they don't agree with me. But if you want to add a little extra kick to it, by all means add that in with your sauteed onions. So we're going to start off with our dry ingredients. We've got our cornmeal here. This is 2/3 cup of cornmeal. And we've got 1 1/3 cups of flour, 1/4 cup of sugar, and 4 teaspoons of baking powder. My goodness, those are noisy things today. And we're just going to mix up our dry ingredients. And then we're going to add in our wet ingredients. So we've got 2 eggs. And 1 can of kernel corn, including the liquid in that, because plain Johnny cake calls for 1 cup of milk. So we're going to get the liquid from our corn. So this is just regular niblet corn. And then we've got a can of cream style corn. And this is what makes this just super, super rich, much fancier than the stuff that we used to have. And then I'm adding a couple of cups of shredded cheese. And then I'm going to take this pan here with our melted butter and onion mixture and add that in. I'm not going to worry too much about cleaning the pan completely, because I want that oil in the bottom so that it doesn't stick when I put the cake mixture back in. And then we're just going to mix all this up. And again, just the same as any other muffin or quick bread kind of recipe, we're mixing it just until our dry ingredients are moistened. No more than that, because if you mix it too much, it can make it kind of tough. There we go, that's all it needs. And then I'm just looking at this pan here, and I think that I did scrape it a little bit too much, so I'm just going to add a little dribble of oil to the bottom again, because when I made this the last time, it did want to stick to the bottom, and I think that that's what I did the last time too, is I just made it a little bit. There we go. And then we're just going to pour this into our pan. You can see, hopefully from a distance there, just how moist that is, and that extra onions and corn in there just makes this so awesome. Just spread that around just like we would any other cake. And we're going to pop this into a 400-degree oven, so quite a hot oven, for 40 minutes. And we'll be good to go. You can use this as a vegetable dish, as a side dish. You can cut it up and have it separately. You can put maple syrup on it and have it for dessert. So we'll see you in about 40 minutes after this is out of the oven. Okay, we're back 40 minutes later with this beautiful golden cornbread. And it smells amazing. And we'll just cut a piece out. And there we go. Moist, piping good, cheesy cornbread. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode of Hilltop Stovetop, where we've made this beautiful cornbread with onions and niblet and creamed corn. And that you'll remember to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in another video soon. Bye-bye for now.